Hello everyone, my name is Tiffany and I will be presenting on Chapter 7, Understanding Organizations, from the book Social Work Macro Practice, and this book was written by authors Netting, Kettner, McMurtry, and Thomas. I know that most of us, if not all of us, are working with organizations in our field placement or internship or interacting with different organizations. So I think that this chapter is going to be very useful and helpful for us. So I just want to go into what organizations are, and later on we'll go into the different theories of organizations. So an organization or organizations are defined as collectives of individuals gathered together to serve a particular purpose. And in 1960, Parsons declared that organizations are both defined and differentiated from other social constructs due to their emphasis on purpose or achieving a specific goal or outcome. And some of the goals that organizations may seek to accomplish include providing food, providing shelter, making a profit, or improving the quality of life for individuals outside of the organization. So, for example, this last one would include maybe a child who is in mental health therapy to help alleviate his anxiety. So, a mental health organization's goal would be to provide that therapy for the individual and improve his mental health. So we're going to go into the organizational theories now, and there are quite a few, so I'll try to get through them as quickly as possible so that you don't have to watch a really long video, but let's get to it. But actually, before we go into the theories, it's important to know these different vocabularies that relate to the theory. So the first one is descriptive approach. And these are theories that are intended to provide a means of analyzing organizations in terms of certain characteristics or procedures. And then the other option of approach that a theory could be is prescriptive, and this just means that theories provide guidelines on how to organize. And going over to the type of system that a theory can be, it can either be an open system, which concerns how the organization is influenced by interactions with the environment, or it is a closed system, and that's concerned with internal structures and processes of the organization. And there's a total of 14 key organizational theories that the book mentioned, and most of the newer theories are open systems or open system models because they focus on interactions with the environment rather than just internal structures. So we're going to go, here are the theories, and then the theorists are underneath them, but we're going to go into more detail. And here are the other 6. Okay, so the first theory is bureaucracy, and this means ideal type. It is a conceptual construct, and it's not very likely that an organization fits perfectly under this category. So this theory is just used to provide a model for which organizations can be compared. And the theorist for this theory is Weber. The approach is descriptive, and it is a closed system theory. All right, so next we have scientific and universalistic management, and the theorists for these are Taylor and Fayol, and the approach is prescriptive with a closed system. So first, scientific management. This describes the need for managers to analyze the workplace scientifically, and this involves studying the work, so actually identifying the best employee and then studying that individual in the workplace. And then universalistic management just builds upon scientific management in a broader sense to contain the ideas of rational management. And a key concept for these theories is efficiency management. Next, we have human relations theory and theory Y. And both of these approaches are prescriptive as well as closed systems. So the human relations theory by the theorist Mayo suggests that organizations must be viewed as social institutions, and that its social factors, for example, friendship and belongingness, are most important in understanding how organizational actors behave. Similarly, Theory Y draws upon the human relations theory, and the theorist is McGregor, and it assumes that the purpose of management is to recognize workers' higher order needs according to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So, looking into that self actualization and achieving one's full potential. And this theory also creates or suggests that it has to create organizations that allow the workers to achieve these needs. And an important key concept for these two theories, well, the first theory, human relations concept, includes social rewards and informal structure. And then a key concept for theory Y includes higher order rewards. All right, so management by objectives, also abbreviated as MBO, has the theorist Drucker or Drucker. Not sure how to pronounce some of these, but the approach for this one is prescriptive and it's a closed system. And so this theory involves short range as well as long range planning. And the organizational structures and procedures necessary to achieve an outcome are established through the planning process. And this theory emphasizes setting goals and objectives. Okay, so now we have organizational goals theory, and the theorists are Michels and Selznick, and the approach is descriptive and a closed system. And for this theory, the goals of an organization are displaced or taken over by the inferior goals that are required to preserve the organization and keep its leadership in power. And this theory's key concepts emphasize goal displacement as well as natural systems. All right, so next we have decision making, and the theorists for this are Simon and March. And the approach is descriptive and it's a closed system. And this theory suggests that organizations can be thought of as a conglomerate or a collection of individual decisions within them. And it suggests that organizational behavior can be conventionalized as decisions made about how to respond to stimuli. So this theory really emphasizes the psychological idea of stimulus and response. Okay. Open systems theories are by Katz and Kahn. And of course, the system is open because the theory is open systems. And then we have that the approach is descriptive. So open systems theory expands the natural systems perspective and shows that all organizations are open systems that require inputs from their environments, and then in turn, they return outputs to the environment. So for example, as you can see at the bottom, some inputs may be funds or staff or clients, and then the return outputs to the environment would include services or products. All right, contingency theory, which is proposed by the theorists Burns and Stalker, Morse and Lorsch, and Thompson. And the approach for this theory varies as well as the system for this theory that also varies. And it suggests that there are many ways to organize rather than just one best way. And then some ways of organizing are better than others. So it's important to find at least one acceptable approach. And then the last thing for this is that organizations' environments can determine which way of organizing works best under present and different circumstances. And some key concepts for this theory are that they emphasize environmental constraints and task environment. Power in Politics. This theory is by Pfeffer, Wamsley, and Zold. And the approach for this theory varies, but it is an open system theory. And it argues that organizations are best understood in terms of power relationships and political forces. And Pfeffer defined power as the ability to influence actions, and then politics as the process through which this influence is used. And now we're going to the next one, organizational culture. The theorists for this theory are Shine, Cross, Week, and Morgan. And again, I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names, but the approach for this theory is prescriptive, and then it is an open systems theory. And so this theory is really interesting because a familiar expression that is used to define this theory is the way we do things around here. And this includes like unwritten rules or norms of what is composed of intelligent behavior in an organization, as well as the shared values held by the individuals. So this theory really emphasizes values, beliefs, and diversity and sense making. Next, we have quality-oriented management, and the theorist for this one is Deming. And the approach is prescriptive, and it is an open system approach, or open system theory, and it highlights the importance of achieving and maintaining maximum quality in goods and services. So the focus of this is consumer quality and process focus. All right, now we have evidence-based management, also abbreviated as EBM, and the main theorists for this are Rousseau, Pfeffer, and Sutton. His approach is prescriptive, and the theory is an open system theory. And so this theory focuses on improving results with findings from empirical research, expertise of administrators, and information relating to preferences of clients. So this theory really highlights the importance of actually having evidence-based knowledge to run the organization and not just going off of gut feelings and impulses like personal experiences. So it really emphasizes the evidence-based data collection, analysis, feedback type of things. And I have a familiar face on this screen. As you can see at the bottom, I have a picture of Dr. Briggs as well as one of his colleagues, Bowen McBeath. I believe that's how you pronounce it, but they were actually mentioned in the textbook for their contribution to the research on EBM in the helping profession as well as its origins in the healthcare system. So a quick shout out to those two. Next, we have organizational learning, and the theorists for this theory are Argyris, and Schoon, and then Singe. Probably butchered those names as well, but the approach for this theory is prescriptive, and it is an open systems theory. And so this theory says that organizations receive feedback from their environment and try to interpret the usually ambiguous feedback correctly. So that feedback might be coming in from a confusing point of view. So it is important for the organization to correctly interpret that feedback. And through this little diagram, you can see the interaction between interpretation, data collection, learning and taking action, as well as the importance of feedback. So I have a little reflection activity for you all. So I want you to think about your internship or your field placement organization and think about these questions. So what theory or theories do you think apply to your organization structure? Do you think that the theory that your organization functions off of is beneficial? And then what are the strengths and weaknesses of that theory? And if you would like to let me know what you think about this or how you answered, you can email me in Outlook or send me a message on ELC. And thank you all for listening to my presentation. I hope you have a great rest of your day.